Okay, great. Good morning. My name is Lori Blanton. I work with UC International Services as an assistant director of our student support services team. Welcome to our UCI Services Summer Panel Information Session. We are so pleased that you could join us and that you've chosen to further your education at UC. Today's session will have both pre-recorded videos and live presenters. So I'm going to introduce you to the presenters now. Katie, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi, my name is Katie Dockstader. I'm a program coordinator at UC International Services.
James?
Hi, I'm James Tenney. I'm the Associate Director for UC International Services.
We're going to answer your questions regarding your immigration status, your options and rights as international students in the United States. We hope to connect you to some of our campus and community resources that will help keep you informed and share event and workshop details that will help you thrive at UC. Additionally, we welcome Amanda Donor today from University Health Services, who will be discussing student health appointments, vaccines, and any current COVID protocols. Would you like to say good morning, Amanda?
Sure.
Hi, good morning. I'm having trouble getting my camera to work, but I'll figure that out. Yeah, good morning. My name is Amanda. I am the program manager with University Health Services. And so I'll have a brief presentation, and then our medical director, Dr. Holliday, should also be joining us as well.
Great.
So some general reminders about the session today. This is going to be an informational session with opportunities for you to ask questions. There is, for this first section, it's going to be about the next 30 minutes. We will present you with a lot of information. This is going to be hopefully an engaging mix of videos and live conversations. So please bear with us for any technical difficulties as we switch between those elements. During the informational sessions, you should be muted and your video should be off. And please save your questions for the Q&A portion that we will conduct at the end of the presentation. You can also put questions in the chat at any time, and we will answer them during that Q&A session. Any very specific and personal questions should be emailed to international.services@uc.edu, and I will go ahead and put that in the chat right now. So any personal questions should be sent to that email. If for any reason you get disconnected, the sessions are being recorded for viewing later. So we will provide those links via the weekly UCI Services newsletter. If you still have any questions and you don't want to ask them here today, you're more than welcome to visit our office. We're open Monday through Friday from 8 to 5, or you can email us at the email that I provided again. And I'll go ahead and put those hours in the chat as well. So now I'm going to go ahead and play that first video. So give me one moment to get that set up. I'm going to go ahead, open that up and share my screen. Lori, feel free to just holler if something's not working right. Close that.
Welcome to the University of Cincinnati. As an international student, you are a valued member of our global community here at UC.
Today, we are going to introduce you to a little bit of your home away from home, which is UC International.
So UC International is comprised of 4 units. We have our planning department,
Study abroad,
international admissions,
and international services.
Everyone is here to help you throughout your educational journey at UC.
So let's go check in with our staff at UC International and see how they can help you along the way. UC International is on the 7th floor at Edward Center 1.
Whenever you have questions or concerns, you can always find help here.
Follow us
And we'll go take a look.
Hello everyone, welcome to the University of Cincinnati. My name is Ron Cushing and I'm the Director of UC International Services. On behalf of our office and the entire university community, I want to welcome you to the University of Cincinnati. We are honored that you've decided to pursue your educational objectives with us, and we're going to do everything we can to ensure that your experience here is a positive one. We know that your decision to study in the United States and here at UC was made after months, if not years, of hard work, dedication, and tough decisions by you and your family. You need to understand that the challenge you are about to embark upon is going to be a difficult one, but it will also be rewarding. Our office is going to help you meet those challenges and obtain those rewards. You should know that you're joining a very large and exciting international community. You're going to be part of more than 3,000 enrolled international students from more than 100 different countries from across the world. UC International Services is responsible for making sure that you understand all the rules and regulations that you need to follow as an international student and providing you with the proper authorizations along the way. While you're studying, you're going to need to travel. Many of you are in programs that involve co-op or capstones that require work assignments during your stay. You may change your degree level or your program of study. Some of you may have dependents who need to come and be with you. There's a whole host of immigration regulations you need to follow, and we're going to make sure you understand those rules and provide you with the proper authorizations. We have highly trained staff who are available to help answer all of your questions, and we encourage you to contact us when you need help. Please make sure you address all immigration and visa questions to our office. Don't ask your friends, don't ask your college advisor or your departmental advisor. Make sure all visa and immigration questions are addressed to our staff. We also provide you with a host of programming activities during your stay here. Certainly during the first few weeks, you're going to be invited to participate in a lot of welcome and arrival activities. And then throughout your stay, we are going to provide you with opportunities to engage in programs that will help you learn about U.S. culture, the university, the city of Cincinnati, and the U.S. in general. I can assure you that the students who take advantage of those opportunities are the students that leave here with the most positive experiences. So please take advantage of those programs when you have the opportunities. So welcome to UC. We look forward to helping you obtain all of your personal and academic objectives.
As Ron mentioned, UC International is here mainly for immigration advising and student support.
Let's check in with some of our international advisors and learn from them all that we can about keeping up to date your visa.
Okay. Well, welcome again. My name is James. I'm with UC International Services, and we are excited that you are here on campus. After all your hard work, you finally made it. And so we're certainly glad you're here. Our website and our contact details are going to be in the chat here, but you can always get hold of us at our phone number at 513-556-4278. Our email address is international.services@uc.edu. And you can always stop by our office anytime. We are normally open between Monday and Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. We always have an advisor here on staff, on call. And so if you walk in, you'll get to meet with them as well. We can talk to you one-on-one in person. You will find that most of our services start with something called iBearCats Global. Before arriving on campus, you were probably using this most likely to get your I-20 issued and to get several other things organized. And that's still going to be the case after you arrived here on campus. Before you arrived, you were logging in to iBearCats Global using the new student or new scholar login. And it would have asked you for things like your UCID number, your PIN, and your date of birth. Now that you're here, you will use the current student or current scholar login. And this is going to ask you for your UC username as well as your UC password. And so when you log in, that's the key detail, because now you're a current student here. You've now arrived. And so then we can help you with the services that you need, like work permits and things like that we'll talk about here in a few moments. We need to make sure that things like your US address are always up to date, and you can do that in Catalyst. If you update your address in Catalyst, our office gets informed, and then we'll let the Immigration Service know what your address is. It's very important that the Immigration Service has those updates, whether it's a change in phone number or an address, as it's part of your F1 status. Before we continue, make sure you do log into iBearcats Global and finalize your check-in. There is a after arrival section in iBearcats Global that we need you to fill in that will let us know things like your US address, as well as your documentation like your I-94, your visa stamp, and your passport. And that way we can update your record here at UC. Now, keep in mind that immigration rules can change at any time, and it can be confusing. And so that's what our office is here for. As a reminder, some of those key rules that you'll need to keep in mind. And if you forget, you can always check our website or contact us. We'll be happy to help you understand what these rules are. But anytime you're at UC and you're studying full-time, you must be enrolled for at least 12 credit hours if you are an undergraduate student pursuing an associate's degree or a bachelor's. And you must be registered for at least 10 credit hours if you are a graduate student, those who are pursuing a master's or a PhD. And so 10 credit hours per semester, or 12 per semester if you're an undergraduate. Now, you can register for online classes. However, if you are a graduate student, 7 of those 10 credits that you have to be enrolled for in order to maintain your status, must be in person. Anything else after that can be online. And so you can do 3, 6, 9, whatever you'd like online classes, as long as 7 of those classes of the 10 that you need for your immigration status maintenance are in person. If you need to take fewer courses for any reason while you're here, the Immigration Service will allow that, but you have to fill in the reduced course load e-form in iBearcats Global so we can review your reason and grant you permission. There are very few reasons why the Immigration Service will let you drop, but there are some. For example, if you're having a medical situation, or perhaps you're having an academic difficulty. And so again, if you're struggling to maintain your full-time enrollment at UC, let us know. We'll direct you to that reduced course load e-form in iBearcats Global to get the help that you need to drop a class or two if that's the situation. Now, your I-20 is what most of you have, and it helps you to maintain who you are and how you're recognized by the Immigration Service. The I-20 is your permission to stay in the country, not your visa stamp. The visa stamp is just an entry document that helps you get into the US. Once it's here, it can expire, even if you're here for a master's, PhD degree. What is most important is your I-20. Don't ever let your I-20 expire while you're still studying here at UC. We'll send out reminders to your UC email account when it gets to about 90 days before your I-20 expires, but it is ultimately up to you to understand when your I-20 expires and to apply for an extension of that if you do need more time in order to complete your degree. You must submit that application before the current I-20 expires. Now, at some point, you may want to travel overseas or outside the country to go to Canada or Mexico, or even to go home, or to go to another country in the world to visit friends, family, or take part in study abroad, or maybe even a co-op abroad. At some point, you're going to want to come back as well. And so it's very important that you get a travel signature put on your I-20 for you and any family members who are traveling with you on page 2 of your I-20. Right now, your I-20 from UC doesn't have a signature on page 2, but if at some point during the winter break or next year or 2 years from now, if you decide that you need to make a trip outside the country, you'll need to submit the request for a travel signature through iBearcats Global so we can put a signature on your I-20. When that signature appears on your I-20, that grants you permission to enter the US after your trip is over. On-campus employment is something you may be interested in at some point while you're here. Maybe some of you have an assistantship where you have to work immediately. Just keep in mind that when the fall and spring semesters are currently active and you're enrolled for classes, you can only work no more than 20 hours per week on campus. Now, during official breaks like the summer term that we're in right now, or during the spring break week in March, or the winter break in December, which can be 3 to 4 weeks, you can work more than 20 hours per week on campus. If you are needing to work on campus in a UC paid position, you will need to submit our onboarding e-form in iBearcats Global. That way we can get you finished in the HR system for UC and get you permission to work on campus in that particular role. Now, there are certain forms of off-campus work permit that you will be eligible for after you've been here for one full academic year. Typically, it's 30 weeks of in-person classes before you're eligible for any kind of off-campus work permit. Off-campus work permits, such as optional practical training and curricular practical training, are connected to your field of study. At some point, you may decide to go get an optional experience off campus to help supplement your education, or maybe you're in a program that requires off-campus employment like co-op or internships. We have a work permit based upon either one of those options, and there's more details about those on our UC International Services website. If you find that you're struggling with finances at some point, let us know. There is a work permit available that lets you work off campus for economic hardship. It is a somewhat complicated process, and you have to prove that there's an economic hardship involved in some way, but we will walk you through that process to see if you're eligible or not. And again, our website has details on this as well. And finally, taxes. Taxes can be very confusing even for Americans, and so don't panic about this for now. But if you are going to work on campus, at some point you'll have to pay taxes on your paychecks. And so we'll provide you information of how to make sure you're being taxed correctly on your paychecks. Also, every year, everyone has to fill in what's called a tax return. You're returning a report to the US government on how much you got paid, how much you got taxed, and how much you should have been taxed. We'll send out information about that in January and February every year, so you can fill in your tax return for the previous year. So for example, you're here now in 2023. The only time you'll have to worry about this next is in January, February of 2024, when we all do our returns for the year 2023. Told you it can be confusing, but we'll walk you through that process in January and February when it comes time for that. Well, I'll close by now by saying I hope you do enjoy your time here. Get out and explore the programs that we have available for you, the trips and activities. Go out and meet Americans. But if at any point you have questions of an immigration or a tax nature, please come and see us or contact us. There are many people out there who have been here for a number of years, Americans and internationals, who are familiar with the rules. But sometimes those rules change. And so they may mean well and want to be helpful. But if you have a question about an immigration or tax matter, please do contact us. Again, our phone number is 513-556-4278, and our email address is international.services@uc.edu. And of course, we're always here if you just want to walk in and speak to one of our advisors. And then finally, do make sure to read our weekly newsletter. It goes out and arrives in your UC inbox roughly Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. It's full of information regarding fun activities we're doing, maybe some immigration updates, and also some warnings because perhaps there's a scam that's going around at this point, via email, or maybe some news about the university that you need to be made aware of. And so do pay attention to those emails that go out once a week into your inbox for your UC inbox. And so with that, I'll pass this back over to Laurie and welcome you again to UC.
And now I'm going to go ahead and play the second video.
The UC International website is filled with tons of resources and information about your visa, the university, and more. If you ever have a question or want to know where to go, consider our website your first stop. However, much of the way you'll interact with our office involves using our online system, iBearcats Global. Up until this point, you've probably been using the limited services. Now you can use the full services for students and scholars to submit e-forms, make requests, and more. Sagar, an international student in engineering, was on co-op last semester. In order to do co-op, he had to get authorization for CPT. Let's hear his advice about how to work with our office to get CPT authorization.
For the CPT process, I think it has been really helpful keeping in touch with UC International. I definitely think it's a learning curve. You kind of need to understand how the CPT process works. So my first few times, I would say, I wasn't sure what to do. So what I did was I set up an appointment with the immigration officer. Within 2 days, you can get the appointment. You can go and talk to them about, any questions you have. After submitting the request on iBearcats Global, usually what I do is follow up next day with them over the phone, just calling the reception office, and they're pretty responsive. Even if there's a delay, they would let you know that we'll get to you in 2 days or 3 days, and it's been a pretty smooth process. In general, they were really helpful and friendly in answering all the questions I have.
Hey Bearcats, welcome to UC.
In addition to the immigration services that we provide, UC International also provides a welcoming, inclusive, and safe space for international students. We can give you resources, strategies, and tools to help you accommodate to life at UC and in Cincinnati. Here's just a small example of the events that we've put on in years past.
Favorite part interacting with UC International and all the community around here was knowing someone from a country in Europe is equal to like traveling through their eyes and understanding how their country is. So that was really precious, I think.
iPals to me is where you can make friends from around the world and also learn their experiences, share your experiences as well, along with we can support and help each other along the ways. My freshman year, I wish I learned about iPals, how I could have made all the friends I have now earlier on and all the opportunities I could have joined before as well.
I think one advice I would like to give international students would be to get out of your comfort zone. Sometimes things can be very frustrating and it could be a lot of work, but once you step out, try to learn about new things, try to learn about the culture in the US, it just starts becoming more and more beautiful, and it comes easier to make new friends and just understand the differences we have and just embrace it together.
Okay, thank you, Katie, for sharing the video. Again, I work with UC International Services on the Student Services Support Team, and we want to provide social and academic support for you so that you really have a holistic and positive experience at UC. Our team includes me and Katie, Kelly Plazabat, and 2 graduate assistants. We'll communicate with you through Facebook, Instagram, Campus Link, and our weekly newsletter. If you aren't following us on social media, we encourage you to start today. The weekly newsletter, as James mentioned, will show up in your UC inbox, usually on Tuesday evenings or early Wednesday morning. Katie oversees mailing the newsletter. Again, it will include immigration updates and UC event listings, campus and community resources, and events that you should attend. The first Tuesday of the month, you'll find those community resources. Those aren't in every iteration of the newsletter. Be sure that you're reading it thoroughly. Our events and workshops and meetups this summer will be in person. Information on how to attend those events and access any resources will be shared via social media, campus link, and again, our weekly newsletter. Our student group that was mentioned in the video, the International Partners and Leaders, includes domestic and international students, grads and undergrads, and they should be at hand at these events to help you, extend a peer-to-peer welcome and answer questions. So reach out to them. They're a great resource. You should be able to identify them by their iPals t-shirts and their smiling faces.
So UC International also focuses on providing academic support for international students. So Kelly Plazabat, who's part of our team, as Lori mentioned earlier, serves as our academic support liaison for UC International. So she can help connect you with your academic advisor or professors. She also provides academic workshops on topics you might be unfamiliar with. And she also is able to connect you with campus resources to ensure that you are academically successful at UC. So we would really like to encourage you to reach out to us if you have any questions about academic liaison or programming or anything that's been discussed here today. Again, our office is open Monday through Friday from 8 to 5 in Edwards Center 1, Suite 7148. And you can call us at 513-556-4278 or email us at international.services@uc.edu. So again, I'll just go ahead and put those in the chat for good measure. And finally, our website is a wealth of information. So Lori has just put that in the chat. But there is a ton of information there. So if you ever have questions, I encourage you to look there, see if you can find that out.
All right, I think we are now ready to shift gears and talk a little bit about our university health services. We do have Amanda Donor here today, who is part of that unit. Amanda, take it away. I think we might have lost Amanda. Amanda, are you there?
Do we want to just continue with the Q&A? Oh, she is here. Okay.
Okay, she may be having some technical difficulties.
No, we're unable to hear you.
Yeah.
Do you want to try leaving the call and rejoining and see if that helps?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I think it had some weird microphone selected, so I had to change my mic, I guess. I don't know. Okay, let me try to share my screen. Okay, can you guys see the PowerPoint?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And I apologize about my camera. I can't get it to work. But like they said, my name is Amanda Donor. I am the program manager with University Health Services. And our medical director, Dr. Holliday, should be joining me. He was seeing patients this morning, but he should be joining me here in just a few minutes to kind of go over some things as well. But I will be going over briefly just who we are, what kind of services we offer, and then going over immunization compliance rules and regulations, and then just some COVID resources should any of you need them. So we are University Health Services. We are located here on main campus at the Lidner Athletic Center. And it's the big gray building with all the triangle windows right by Nippert Stadium. And we are here Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m., except Wednesdays we start at 9:30. And services provided, so we do offer a variety of services. That includes primary care, which would include if you're injured, women's health, immunization needs. We do offer mental health services as well, and that includes counseling and psychiatry. We do have a lab on site, so if blood work needs to be done, that can be done here. Dermatology, we do have an on-site pharmacy, so if any prescriptions can be filled here as well. Radiology, so if you need an x-ray, things like that. And then we do offer travel health services. So immunizations, and I'll get into it in a little bit. The university has certain immunizations that are required for all students, but in addition to those, we offer a full range of immunizations that you may need for a certain program or for something outside of school, maybe a job, or for travel, things like that. So those are all listed here. And we do TB testing, and we do urine drug screens as well. A lot of students need urine drug screens for a job, for a certain program, things like that. So immunization compliance. All students are required to complete a certain set of immunizations upon arrival to UC. And those include a TB test, hepatitis B vaccine, measles, mumps, rubella, meningococcal A, Tdap, and varicella. So those are all required by the university for all students attending school. And then we do have a set of recommended vaccines that are not required. That does include COVID at the moment. So that one is not required, but it is recommended. And flu is strongly recommended each fall. Why? So the university has immunization and health screening policies to protect the health of all individuals and the campus community as a whole. Infectious diseases are a particular concern at universities due to a large number of students living, working, dining, studying, all the things together. And recent outbreaks have occurred on campuses across the United States. So UC's requirements are based upon regular reviews of national, state, and local recommendations. So as an international student, you are required to complete a tuberculosis screening upon arrival to UC. This is mandatory. The process would be to call UHS upon arrival. Our phone number is listed here, and you'll call to make an appointment. Once you do that, you'll be required to sign up for a UC Health MyChart account. That's just an electronic health record. We will communicate with you through that MyChart account about your appointment, about your results. So it's very important that you create that account. At your appointment, you will fill out a TB screening questionnaire. It just asks questions about your history and symptoms and things like that. Depending on the results of that questionnaire, you will have a blood draw to test for latent or active tuberculosis. The deadline for completing this screening is 3 weeks after the start of the semester, which for this semester would be May 29th. All right, and then for the rest of your immunization requirements, so all the other ones I listed before, hepatitis B, Tdap, varicella, all those, we use a system called MedProctor to collect the proof of immunizations for all of our students. It's just it's a system that houses all that data for us. So students will receive a notification from MedProctor to their UC email address with instructions for setting up an account. If for some reason you don't get that email address, or you lost it or accidentally deleted it, that's okay. You don't need the email in order to create the account. So you can just use your UC email address and your M number to create an account. So you can go onto MedProctor. You'll go and download the standardized immunization, UC standardized immunization form. And then you will want to take that form to your provider, have them fill it out, and you're going to return and sign it. And then you're going to return that completed form to MedProctor. You can get all of those immunizations here at UHS, and you would just call us to make an appointment for that. And like I said, you'll have your provider complete, sign, and stamp the form, and then you're going to return that completed form to MedProctor. They will notify you by email of any outstanding items that still need to be taken care of. And the deadline for all of those immunizations to be in MedProctor is June 19th. So like I said, the TB screening must be done by 3 weeks into the semester, which would be May 29th. The rest of the immunizations, it kind of fall in line with the general population requirements as well, and those are all due university-wide June 19th. If you do have questions about MedProctor, you can go to, like if you're having an issue with the system or anything like that, you can go to their website. It's medproctor.com, and they do have a live chat feature at the bottom of their webpage. So you'll actually be chatting with someone who works at MedProctor, and they will be able to help you with your issue. If you have questions about immunizations or immunization compliance or requirements or things like that, you can visit our website. It has more detail there, and everything. All of your requirements are listed there. You can also email us at uhstracking@ucmail.uc.edu. That is an email inbox that is monitored by us each weekday, each day that we are open. Or you could call us at 556-2564. All right, and then looks like Dr. Holliday is here. I will turn it over to him going forward.
Thank you. And can someone advance the slides for me? That would be great.
Yeah, I can. I have it pulled up.
Okay, awesome. And is this the updated slide deck I sent? Just making sure. Okay. Okay. I'm seeing you all between seeing a couple patients, so sorry for the not making it for the first part of the talk. So I wanted to talk a little bit about taking care of your health. This is maybe a new thing for a lot of people, that you're out on your own, and here you are trying to be healthy so that you can attend to your academic work. Next slide. So we want to talk about getting the help that you might need. So sometimes emergencies come along. Examples include feeling really having a lot of trouble breathing at rest, passing out, severe bleeding, chest pain. The best resource there is our emergency medical services system, or EMS, and you can contact that by calling 911 or going to the nearest emergency room. There are some cases where you may not be sure. So you might have some abdominal pain, but you're not sure if this is serious or not. It's fine to give us a call. So 513-556-2564, and you'll be able to talk with the scheduler, and if needed, a nurse will be able to speak with you to make sure that you get to the right place to get your care. And after hours and on weekends, we have providers who are on call and on holidays as well. So if you have any questions, you can still talk to someone if you call that number. Next. Getting the help you need for routine care. So many people will have a new problem, such as a rash or maybe some back pain or some knee pain. They might twist their ankle and have an injury that needs to look at. We can certainly take care of that. And some people have established medical problems, such as high blood pressure or diabetes or asthma. We can help you with that as well. And there are some preventative services that we can provide, such as people who are due for a pap smear, which is a screening for cervical cancer, or any needed immunizations. Next. With respect to mental health, we have partners on campus that help us a lot. Counseling and Psychological Services, or CAPS. That's a resource that is available to you all if you're having some issues with depression or anxiety or trouble adjusting to some of the stressors that you're going through, which are really, really common. They can definitely help with that. We also have some counseling services at UHS, and we also have psychiatrists there, and our primary care providers. We also prescribe medications for less complex cases of things like anxiety and depression. Next. In terms of dental and vision care, that's not a routine benefit of the Student Health Insurance Program, but there is additional insurance coverage that can be purchased, and I put a link there. Also, there's low-cost dental cleaning at the Blue Ash, which is it's a campus of University of Cincinnati, the Blue Ash Dental Hygiene Clinic, and I left you with that link as well. Next. And I wanted to shift gears a little bit and talk about staying healthy. So prevention is the best medicine. So I definitely want to highlight the UC Student Wellness Center and a wide variety of educational resources they have there. So if you happen to click on that link, you'll be able to see many different topics of health that you might find interesting and helpful. Next. I want to highlight just a couple of things based upon my experience as a primary care doctor over the past 20-some years. And we're going to talk about eating, moving, sleeping, and connecting. So many of the problems that I see in my office can be prevented or at least helped by attending to these 4 things. Next. Michael Pollan, who's an author, he stated this the best in terms of staying healthy through eating. He said, eat food, not too much, mostly plants. So there's a term known as the Standard American Diet, which spells out SAD. The Standard American Diet often does not have recognizable food. It has very processed food. And so we want to try to get away from that the best we can to prevent things such as high blood pressure, diabetes, and even depression. So there's some good evidence to show that the Standard American Diet can contribute to mental illness as well. Next. We know that on a fixed budget, folks who are in higher education, if students, they may not have enough money all the time to get the resources that they need. So there's a community out there that can be helpful. There's a link to the Bearcat Pantry, where you can find some food there for free. And then also I gave you a link to findhelp.org. So this is a search engine that will show you based upon zip code, like ours is 45221. Here, it'll show you different resources that are available for things such as food. Next. Moving. So we know that exercise is very helpful to prevent things such as hypertension, diabetes, weight problems. It's also very good for mental health, very powerful. So an exercise program can be just as effective as some medications when it comes to preventing recurrences of anxiety and depression. And I provided a link here on how to come up with an exercise program. Next. This is probably one of the most common problems that I see for people who are in an educational program. Obviously, a lot of demands on your time. Many people are also working in addition to doing their studies. So sleep can sometimes be thought of as a luxury, but it's not. So we know that when you sleep less than the recommended 7.5 hours approximately as the minimum, you start to pay a cost. So the cost is in terms of mood, health, cognitive performance. So I gave you a link to one of the best resources that I know of. It's sleepfoundation.org, and you can get some more information. Many of the students that I see have difficulty with insomnia or just having optimized sleep. So try to maximize the quantity, but also the quality by doing things such as limiting caffeine after noon, trying to get some exercise earlier in the day, getting some light exposure during the day, avoiding big meals and alcohol before bed, etc. Next. And then connecting. So we're social beings, and we're not meant to do this alone. So coming on to a new campus, challenging program, it's very important to connect. So I know I've come to learn that the international office is very good at helping with this aspect of your education. So please use them as a resource. You can also get the Calm app. There's a link there, which can be helpful to connecting with yourself and learning how to have a mindfulness practice and relieving stress. And if you're having trouble connecting with others, having trouble connecting with yourself as well, just with anxiety, or maybe being too hard on yourself sometimes, I see that quite a bit. CAPS can also be helpful. So I gave you a link there. Next. In the ever-changing landscape that is COVID-19, here are some up-to-date links where you can get some additional information. Next. We do offer the COVID vaccinations. We're offering the bivalent vaccine. That's the only one that's available in the United States at this time. The monovalent is no longer available. So you can give us a call and schedule that if you need to be boosted. These are some new slides this year that I wanted to share with you all. So I wanted to talk about just this idea of managing healthcare costs. Healthcare costs in the United States are very high, and often the experience of healthcare is much different for someone who's come from any other country than the U.S. So I wanted to talk about a few things. One thing I'll share with you all is a common experience. When people tell me what it's like to get healthcare outside of the US, they tell me that their expectation is that they'll know exactly how much it'll cost. It will be fairly inexpensive, and the cost will be due right at the time of service. So once someone is in the United States, they start to tell me, hey, it seems like it's the exact opposite here. I don't know how much things are going to cost. It's really expensive, and I get a bill after I've had the service. That's very scary to a lot of people, especially if they're on a fixed income. And so I wanted to address some of those issues here and how to manage them. So we're going to talk about prioritizing urgent healthcare needs of the UC community. So, you know, we take care of over 43,000 Bearcats, and so we can't do everything for everybody all the time. So there's a larger healthcare environment that we can refer to. So for example, our highest priorities are things like acute illnesses, some chronic medical conditions, injuries, and mental health concerns. So there's many times of the year that we're not able to do, you know, everything that people would like. So many people would like kind of a complete well check. They're feeling fine, but they want to be examined from head to toe, maybe get a lot of tests. And we often can't do that because we need to prioritize more urgent needs. So that's something to think about. So if you have the experience that you're wanting to schedule a physical, but you have no symptoms, you may find that challenging. And that's just because we're really trying to take care of a lot of urgent needs that patients have. Next. Avoiding unnecessary tests and treatments. So it's estimated that about 30% of all healthcare resources in this country are wasted, and that unnecessary medical tests and procedures account for about 10% of all healthcare costs. And they also make a cost to the patient too, because sometimes we find things that don't really mean a lot, but then we have to follow them up with additional testing at more expense and sometimes even risk to you all. So keep that in mind. An example I'd like to give is the vitamin D example. Many people want their vitamin D checked, but it's now recommended that we don't do that except for very special cases. So a special case might be someone who has a problem where we already see that maybe they're vitamin D deficient because of osteoporosis or weakened bones and fractures. Or maybe they have a problem absorbing nutrients because of a bowel disease that they have. I think in those cases, it's very important to go ahead and check. But we found that, for example, in Cincinnati, pretty much everyone is going to be somewhat vitamin D deficient, especially in the winter months. So it's probably better to just make sure you have adequate supply of vitamin D, getting some sunlight, maybe taking a supplement of 1 to 2,000 international units a day should do the trick for most people. But certainly if you have symptoms or if you're having problems, we want to look into them. And I gave you a link to this app called Choosing Wisely, so you can actually look at different tests to see what makes sense for you to get and not get. Next. And this is about addressing healthcare concerns early. So sometimes what I see is people, they don't want to spend the money. They're very concerned about getting tests and things like that. And this is where I think we can be helpful to work together. So if you have a health concern, and so you're having symptoms, you know that you have, let's say, a condition such as diabetes or asthma, and you suspect that maybe it's not being managed all that well or needs some help, let us know, because sometimes what I'll see is students will delay getting help, and then their care actually gets more expensive because they have to go to the emergency room, or they have to maybe see a specialist because things are way out of control. Seeking care for healthcare concerns might involve out-of-pocket costs for things such as testing, prescriptions, or when we need to refer to a specialist, because we sometimes do need to. At UC Health, which is our healthcare organization that we work under at Student Health Services, there is financial assistance available. So that's a link there. So if you are starting to incur some healthcare costs, I highly recommend that you look into that. I can think of one story where someone had a condition that they were really suffering from for a couple of years, and I had recommended a certain course of treatment that involved getting care outside of student health. They were pretty reluctant. They eventually did. They did get some assistance, and they got better because they needed a service that I really couldn't provide. So I would encourage you to have a dialogue with your provider that you see here to get the care that you need, but try not to get care that you don't need. Wondered if anyone has any questions. I just laid a lot on you all. I'm open to any questions that people have.
Thank you, Dr. Holliday, for joining us today and giving us a lot of useful information. It's good information for our office as well. And we'll definitely hold on to these slides and share them with students so that they can access those links that you've provided. I think now we are ready for, a couple of minutes of question and answer. And I do have some questions here in my list, and some of these are going to be immigration related. Please feel free to post in the chat any questions that you might also have for our University Health Services folks that are here today. Amanda, I think you could go ahead and stop sharing the screen. And first question that I have is probably going to be answered by James. What happens if my visa expires while I'm inside the US?
Okay, so nothing happens. And so if your visa stamp in your passport expires, it's allowed to. It's not your permission to remain here in the US. What is your permission to remain here in the US is your I-20. So don't let your I-20 expire. If something changes, like your major field of study or you're changing schools, then the I-20 needs to change. But the visa stamp in your passport is not important. It's not your permission to stay here. The only time it has any value is if you're outside the US trying to get back in. At that point, it's an entry permit to help you get back in.
Okay, kind of piggybacking on that, can I renew my visa passport inside the US?
No. Their visa stamps and passports are only issued at U.S. embassies outside the U.S.
Okay. What do I need to do to go home and come back to the U.S.?
Sure. So first step is to log on to iBearcats Global and submit the travel signature request e-form. We will then put a travel signature on page 2 of your I-20. And you'll have that as your permission to come back into the U.S. along with your passport and your visa stamp. You don't need the travel signature to leave the US, but you need it to get back in. And so if you have an emergency trip or you left things to the last minute, that's okay. Submit the travel signature request. And if you need to leave the country before it's approved, go ahead and leave. It just means that while you're overseas, you'll have to have access to a printer so you can print your I-20 out with that travel signature.
How do I get a new I-20 if my major changes?
Just let us know via email, international.services@uc.edu. Let us know what your ID number is and what major you've now changed. We'll verify that change in Catalyst. And if it is really there, then we'll issue a new I-20 with a change in major.
How do I get a social security number?
Well, social security numbers, for those of you who don't know, are US government ID numbers used for payroll and taxation purposes. There are a lot of places around the campus and in the US that will ask you for a social security number for things like electricity bills or rent agreements and things like that. Those numbers aren't needed for those processes. They're only required for if you have a job and you're going to be on someone's payroll. And so if you are interested in getting a social security number, the first thing you'll need to do is obtain a job, perhaps on campus. And then during the onboarding process, as we help you get into the UC payroll system, we'll issue you the materials that you need in order to apply for a social security number. Likewise, if you have an off-campus work permit at some point, we'll send you instructions on how to apply for the SSN, the social security number.
Great. What do I do if my local address changes?
Update Catalyst. Catalyst is one of your big friends along with iBearcats Global. And so if you change your address, update Catalyst.
How do I get a driver's license?
Fair question. What you will need, first of all, is a letter from our office. It's called a driver's license letter, and that's available through iBearcats Global. So submit that request. We'll issue a letter that introduces who you are and what your status is to the Driver's License Bureau. We have some materials in our office where you can learn how to take the test and what you need to take with you to the Driver's License Bureau to apply for a license. And Lori, we have some information about a driving class, right?
Yes, we do. UC International does offer a driving workshop twice a year, once in the fall semester and once in the spring semester. It's kind of a streamlined process to a driving license. It includes classroom instruction and 4 hours of road experience. That workshop is limited in number of participants that we can serve, in that our partner Westside Driving Academy can only manage so many students at a time because of those 4 hours of road experience. That will be advertised in our newsletter. So if you are interested in that experience, just keep an eye on your newsletter so that you can register for that opportunity. Final question. I think this might be Katie. How do I make friends at UC?
Wow. So first off, I would just say that a great starting place again is iPals. And just attending iPals events is a really great way to meet people. We really try and set those up so that it's a great opportunity for meeting people and for building community. If you have particular interests, be academic or just not academic, you can also go onto Campus Link and search up and see if there's any sort of student organizations for that. So maybe your major or your school has a student organization that you could meet people through, or maybe you like to watch anime. I'm pretty sure there's an anime club at UC, so you could join that and meet people with common interests. So I would say Campus Link is a great resource as well. And then UC, just in general as a school, is always having events. So just go explore, do some stuff that maybe scares you a little bit, but be brave. And truly the putting yourself out there is a really great piece of advice. So just taking the leap and talking to new people.
And I would just echo with Katie that following the iPals Instagram account and the UC International Instagram account are great ways to check out what's happening on campus. I think with that, we will close our session for today. I don't see any other questions in the chat, and want to thank our presenters today for their time and the information that they've provided. And again, we welcome you to UC. We hope that you can kick off the summer and start your academic studies, and hopefully enjoy some of the events and things that are happening around campus. Let us know if you have any questions. We are available and happy to take those. So with that, thank you all, and have a wonderful rest of your day.